Hey everybody, my name is Julian. Welcome to Mount Calvary Ministry, and thanks so much for stopping by to watch another teaching video here. The story for today is from probably the best known story out of the Bible, and that is the story of David and Goliath. And I think the reason why people love the story of David and Goliath is it's the ultimate example of the little guy beating up on the big guy. Because in life, whether you were reading the story 1,000 or 3,000 years ago versus today, all of us have challenges, and sometimes we feel like David, who is this small guy, against Goliath, who is this huge giant. In the Bible, it describes Goliath as being a fearsome soldier, larger than life, the kind of soldier you would not want to meet on the battlefield in hand-to-hand combat. Nobody wanted to fight Goliath. He was so fearsome. David, on contrast, wasn't even a soldier. He was a shepherd boy. He was actually taking food out to the front lines to feed his brothers who were in the army. So, if you look at the story and somebody would ask you, well, why did David win? And the simple answer would be, well, God was on David's side, so that's why he won. And it's a yes and no kind of an answer, whether I'm going to agree with you or not. Well, yes, of course, David won because God was on his side. But let's speak frankly and honestly. How many times have you faced challenges in life and you failed? And maybe even you prayed. You thought God was on your side and things did not go your way. The question is why? Why did things not go your way if you felt that God was on your side, just like God was on David's side, and you were facing your own Goliath, but things still went wrong? It didn't quite turn out the way that David and Goliath's story turned out. Well, you got to ask yourself, when David went out onto that battlefield to face Goliath, when everyone else behind him had chickened out, what did David see that all the other soldiers in the Israeli army did not see? So, if you say, well, what did David see when he stepped out and looked at Goliath? You'd probably want to describe Goliath in human terms, how big he was, how strong he was, the size of his sword, the size of his shield, and it'd be all fearsome things. And the reality is, if you were to focus on all the physical, worldly things about Goliath, and if you were David and you were seeing that, you'd be scared as heck, and you'd probably not want to step out into the battlefield. In fact, that's the reason why no one in the Israeli army wanted to step out and fight Goliath, because they were seeing with their eyes what they could see, and it was a fearsome sight. So what did David see? I'm convinced that the difference between David and everyone else standing behind him is David wasn't looking at Goliath with human eyes and looking at Goliath as a human being. David was looking at Goliath through the eyes and the lens of somebody ordained and sent by God. He was looking at Goliath as David should have looked at Goliath, because David was saying to himself, really, in terms of his self-talk and giving himself a pep talk before the battle, David would have been saying to himself, I'm made in the image of God. I am God's messenger. I am royalty. I'm a royal priesthood. I've got authority. I've got dominion. I'm a man of God. I've got the angels around me. I've got God next to me. I've got the Spirit of God inside me. So with that kind of an attitude, that kind of a lens, when he looked at Goliath, he just saw someone that was beatable and defeatable. So the lesson for us, for you and I in our life, because we've all got our Goliath. Your Goliath that you're facing in the 21st century might not have a big sword, might not be coming to chop your head off, but your Goliath is probably destroying your life. It may be a health challenge, a financial challenge, a relationship, marital challenge, maybe a parenting challenge, a problem in the workplace, but you've got a Goliath. You may even have several Goliaths lined up, some bigger than others. The difference between success and failure is not only believing that God is on your side, because we all do as Christians, we believe God is on our side, but the difference between us and David was having a blind faith, not just believing it so, because a lot of us as Christians will pray, will ask for God's help, ask for God's protection, ask for God's deliverance, We'll say we believe it and we've got a certain amount of faith, but you've got to get to a point of blind faith and having that absolute belief without any hesitation, without any doubt, in terms of who you are, how you made, how you created, that you walk with authority. When you have that kind of an attitude and you're looking at a problem, you look at every single problem as beatable and defeatable, just like David looked at Goliath. David looked at Goliath very, very differently to every single man standing behind him. You have to realize that you have to shift your focus. When you shift your focus and you start to realize who you are, how you created, and what you're capable of, and that God is not only by your side, but that the Spirit of God is within you. Because it's one thing to have someone, to visualize God standing at your side, but it's more than that. The Spirit of God is within you, and you are made in the image of God. So you're completely wrapped around with God. God is wrapped around you. You're made in His image. His Spirit is within you, and His angels are around you. When you have that kind of a problem and you're looking at your Goliath, that's when you're going to realize that every single problem is beatable and defeatable, because you're not going to be looking at earthly problems with earthly eyes. Because if you're only going to look at your earthly problems with earthly eyes, you're going to start to feel small, weak, and defeatable yourself. And if you go into battle with that kind of an attitude, you're setting yourself up for failure. It may be that you've prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed for a breakthrough. You've asked for a breakthrough. You've prayed for it over and over and over and over. You've gone out and faced your Goliath over and over. But different to the story of David and Goliath, maybe you get beat down every single time. And you wonder, why me? When is this ever going to turn around? It's a mindset shift. It's an attitude shift. Just like these motivational speakers will talk about the power of positive thinking and the power of attraction, and what you sow you reap, and what you think about you bring about, and what you expect is what you get. You start to realize that every single thing that these new age motivational speakers are talking about is actually biblical fact. Because what you sow, you do reap. What you think about, you bring about. What you focus on, you attract. But it's a mindset shift. Just like that motivational speaker will talk about having a positive mental attitude, PMA, positive mental attitude, that you want to have the right frame of mind so you can get in tune and start to attract, and then the right things come forward. In the spiritual realm, when you are facing your Goliath, because your challenges are not physical challenges. Your challenges are actually in the spiritual realm. That's what the Bible says. We don't battle against flesh and blood, but against principalities. Every single challenge, it's you getting yourself in the right spiritual frame of mind. That positive mental attitude. And when you start to have the attitude and the true belief to your inner core that you're made in the image of God, that you have the Spirit of God dwelling inside of you, that you have the authority of Jesus Christ, just like Jesus when He walked this earth had so much authority that He could do anything because He had all authority. That the authority of Christ is yours, that the Spirit of God is in your heart, and that God's guardian angels are all around you. When you have that attitude and you're facing your Goliath, you're not going to look at your problems with earthly eyes. You're going to look at your problems through strong spiritual eyes. And no matter what the problem is, no matter what your Goliath is, you will chop off its head. It's an attitude thing. But it's not this new age positive thinking. It's positive spiritual thinking. You know what it's called? It's called faith. When you have faith and you believe and you exercise, and the Bible says you should pray without ceasing. Pray without ceasing, and your breakthrough will come. Because every single prayer is a sowing of a seed, and what you sow, you will reap. Between sowing and reaping, there is a season. You don't sow a seed today as a farmer and reap a harvest the next morning. There's a season for it to grow. So if you're praying and you're not getting the harvest, understand there's a season between sowing and reaping. Your breakthrough will come and you will defeat your Goliath. So success and breakthroughs can be yours. Thanks so much for being with me today. And if you want to connect with us at Mount Calvary Ministry, go visit our website at mountcalvaryministry.org or mountcalvaryministry.com. And you can also visit us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. Take care. God bless.